Hi, this is Mark Waid, writer of Superman Birthright, and you're listening to Krypton Report.
Up in the sky, look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's the Krypton Report!
Host Tyler, and welcome to Krypton Report, a podcast dedicated to all things Superman, Supergirl. We're going to look at the Supergirl TV series as well as the Krypton TV series, anything that has to do with the characters in their world. Comics, movies, TV shows. We will talk about everything and anything. We are part of the Southgate Media Group podcasting network. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Krypton Report. You can also email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review to help us get better. You can find me personal at JTYPatrick on Twitter and everything else. You can buy a Krypton Report t-shirt at tpublic.com. Check it out. They have all sizes, colors, styles of shirts. Just go to tpublic.com and search Krypton Report, and you'll see our logo. And every time you buy a shirt, it helps support other podcasts from southgatemedia.com. Thank you. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Krypton Report. Now, new information has come to my attention. See, recently, I thought my guest here, my partner in crime now, was the Superman of Earth 2. But no, that's not the case. See, upon this weekend last, when we got to meet face-to-face, we realized he is actually Superman Red, as I am Superman Blue. So welcome back, Mr. James Cole. Welcome, James.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right.
Got my crazy Superboy and Supergirl in the other room going nuts and playing, but that's kids for you.
All right. Well, I'm here by myself, luckily, right now. I'm at home alone. One's off with Grandma at my nephew's basketball game. Other's hanging out with her friend, and wife with her friend.
And you're with your friend. Yay!
And I'm with my friend, yes. I am alone in a quiet house, being able to do this. We got back from the gym. Everybody went their own ways. And I am here.
Yeah, the gym. Sounds fun. Junia and I are trying to get back to the gym. The hardest part, honestly, what do you think the hardest part about going to the gym is?
The hardest part about going to the gym is actually going to the gym. Once you're there, the job is easy, but it's actually getting up and going, especially when you got to take kids with you or take them someplace or what have you.
That's it right there. The hardest part for us right now is having someone either watch the kids or if they have to go with us, trying to deal with anything. And as you can hear, Solomon is on like the call of the wild. But yeah, that's been honestly the hardest part. Like Junie and I have been so motivated to go, but just
Yeah, we had taken the kids when they were younger, and they usually want a little bit of attention, so sometimes you got to go back and see them. And, when they're younger, there's just more to deal with. So, when they get a little bit older and you can just drop them off and they can just play with kids and you don't have to worry about them, it does get easier. So there's something to look forward to. Just got to push through the difficulties.
Great words from the man himself. All right. So, let's discuss. So much to discuss, honestly. But yeah.
We got a lot of news over the last week or so. DC news.
So.
Yeah, basically about since the last time we recorded.
Solomon. Oh my gosh, my children are nuts. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
So, my crazy children. And we're going to begin with, first of all, let's start off in a weird spot. Wonder Woman 2. They've announced that the villain's going to be Cheetah. And then they announced that, why am I blanking on her name?
Kristen Wiig.
No, I was going to say Emma Stone turned it down, so Kristen Wiig supposedly has been cast. What is your thoughts on Kristen Wiig being cast?
Well, last I saw it was only in talks for the role. So has she officially been cast at this point?
I don't know. I don't think so, okay. But maybe.
Yeah,
I can't keep up with some a lot of hearsay stuff.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, she's had dramatic roles. She's definitely, the way they're going to do the way they're probably going to continue doing the DCEU with a little more humor, I mean, I'm pretty sure she can easily play the archaeologist Barbara Minerva.
Oh yeah, she can totally nail that.
But when it comes to the cheetah aspect, that might be a little more in question. But I have faith that Patty Jenkins would be able to utilize her, and she did some good action with Wonder Woman 1. There were some reshoots when Gal was pregnant, so there's a possibility, and I trust Patty Jenkins to make a very good Wonder Woman 2.
Yeah, I do too. I'm not going to completely rule out Kristen Wiig, but the thing is, I've never really liked her much in anything I saw her in. So that's my first kind of oh, okay. It's not like some of the other crazy casting where I'm well, I liked them in this, but I'm not really sure if they would do good here, but I like them. This is more I've never really liked her.
Yeah, honestly, I've only seen her in a couple of things. I know she's been in a handful of things. I've only seen her in a couple of things, and it was mostly her comedy stuff. I heard she was in The Martian, but I've never seen that yet, so I don't know how well she played. Maybe a scientist type in that movie, but.
Yeah, The Martian I have, and I've tried, and I've started it multiple times, but then I'm I always kind of get sidetracked. So, moving on, this one's short. Metropolis is set to start filming this June. No casting has been announced, and
quick, one last thing for Wonder Woman 2. I just saw that filming should begin May 28th in London.
Well then.
So one last thing on the Wonder Woman 2 topic.
Well, there we go. No, what I was saying is Metropolis starts filming in June, and no casting has been announced. And I guess they're not going to shoot in New York now. I mean, originally they were going to shoot in New York, but they haven't said where they're going to shoot. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the show was supposedly picked up from what I believe I saw in the early reports when they announced it, that they just picked it up, for a season worth of episodes. Streaming season, probably 10 or 13 episodes, but I thought I saw 13. But yeah, they're going to film, no casting, not even the true location of shooting yet. Very little info on Metropolis.
I know, it's weird. We know it's going to series because it's on the streaming thing. But it's just weird because I figured we'd hear something.
Well, as soon as they start shooting by June, we'll probably have a decent bit more information, at least casting.
Yeah, I mean, based on what we've seen with the casting and the limited information that we've gotten about Titans, they've released, pictures of the Titans along the way, so we could only, hypothesize that Metropolis will be along the same way. So, I mean, that's just a little bit, not used really talking about till we learn more. Let's see, moving on. Oh, this is a quick tidbit.
Right. Well, we know that comic book stories, I mean, even though it's Metropolis and it's not necessarily going to have like Superman or superheroes involved, comic books and that stuff is generally better suited for the long form media. Sometimes the 20-some episodes for an entire season, like the CW shows, is a little, they have too much filler from time to time. Whereas, 10 to 13 episodes, they only have so much time to get straight to the point. So,
and I feel like Superman-based properties have always done well on television. Even with the limited, budgets and effects and stuff, they've done well. So, anyways, what I was going to say is, I've been watching Lois and Clark. I told you.
Right.
I wanted to bring this out to everyone if they didn't see the post that in an episode of season 4, he fights Baron Sunday, a voodoo doctor, played by Cress Williams, otherwise known as Black Lightning.
All right. I did see the post, and that's awesome. Been in the DC family for years.
Didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was cool to throw out to the fans. The other thing we can throw out real quickly is, if you remember when Justice League was first coming out, do you remember when they were dropping all those quick trailers?
Mm-hmm. The character trailers? Or?
Yeah, they did all the cool character trailers. They would release on Unite the Justice League's website, where you could take your picture with the characters, like symbol and effects and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The movie has come, and next week will be on Blu-ray, and they've yet to unlock the Superman. I just want to bring that back up. There's 6 boxes, and they've yet to unlock the Superman.
Well, that's rather disappointing.
It's extremely disappointing. It's extremely disappointing. I just want to bring that back up because it's frustrating beyond belief.
It's like they're washing their hands of the whole Justice League and just trying to move forward. That's disappointing.
It's kind of how it felt before the Justice League even came out. But that's another topic.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
So,
on the topic of Justice League, all the Vero and Zack Snyder posts, and there was even one post on there. I was trying to find it again, but I couldn't find it right offhand. But somebody, a WB person, said, "I can't wait for the Zack Snyder cut."
Good.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that there's just hope.
My thing is, my thing is, as much as I want a Zack Snyder cut, it's more of, I want more of the full vision of what the film was intended to be. And we know that there's stuff in this cut. So it would be really nice to see that stuff. So just throwing that out there. Now, did you see the released concept image art of the Metallo that was supposed to be in the original sequel to Man of Steel that ended up being turned into BVS?
I did.
All right, let's talk about that for a quick moment here. I'm pulling this sucker up. All right. So, what do you think about this machine gun Metallo?
Well, he had some heavy artillery. That's for sure.
I mean, we definitely realized that we were going to get kryptonite. But, I mean, he's got a giant rocket engine. His arms are 2 giant, massive, multi-machine guns. Looks like no legs. It looks more like a transformer with a human's head that's glowing green.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a small photo. I haven't seen a large close-up image of it. I mean, it's got some serious artillery, and obviously with the fact that Superman did, that the Kryptonians and Superman did what they did in the first Man of Steel, that would be a necessary, some heavy artillery. Plus with the green, I mean, looks like the World Engine, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, probably the same exact concept as they used the World Engine and the Black Zero, the gravity field created kryptonite, which they would probably use to power at least some kind of mech suit maybe, and weaken Superman in the fight with Metallo.
See, I like the idea, like, with the idea that Metallo might have been made from some of the, like, the wreckage of, like, the World Engine or something. Could have been really cool. But yeah, it's on the website. I posted it. You can find the Metallo if you scroll down a little bit. It's definitely very... It looks almost Michael Bay-ish and not Zack Snyder. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm glad this concept is scrapped. Metallo, I think, is cool, but that would have been something completely new. Moving forward, this is going to be a little bit of a quick shift. And are you ready to talk about Shazam?
Yes, I am.
First look at the Shazam costume. Initial thought. We got both, like, behind the scene production photos, so let's just say that first. One is the back, we see his back side view, and the other is his front. Yes. But it's also kind of obscured by a person and chain fencing. I think he looks cool.
Yes, the first shot, you know, he's got the hood, you know, he's got the white cape with the gold trim, and he's got the hood, like the new 52 hood.
I like it.
You know, solid red. I have no doubt there will be, you know, probably some sort of filter, you know, to tone down like the bright red, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely is bright. I hope they don't, you know, freaking make it all like maroon or dark red. I'm positive they won't go as desaturated as, you know, Man of Steel started out to be.
Yeah.
But
that's my only problem.
Then the second image, right? The second image at the front of him, you know, I even tagged you in an image earlier, the side-by-side shot from the new 52,
Justice League War.
Yeah. And it looks very similar, the way the lightning bolt is coming down on the chest. So the set photos, I mean, the costume looks great, and I can't wait to see it in action.
Yeah, same here. And I figure we'll have, like, some electricity around him. Zachary Levi is looking good. I mean, he's bulked up. I mean, not exactly as big as I would have gone, like, for Shazam, being the fact that, in a way, Shazam is a little boy's idealized adult self. So, you know, yeah, I know. The only thing the boots are okay. That's the only thing I'm kind of like about, but you know, these are set photos, so things could change. So
yes,
but yeah, I'm for Shazam.
Right. And on the topic of Shazam, there was a Mark Strong set video as Dr. Savannah.
Dude, I'm
that
pumped
came out
for that. Like, I had originally wanted Mark Strong to play, like, when they talked about doing a Batman film, like, in Arkham or whatever, and doing a bunch of different villains, I always thought Mark Strong would be perfect for Victor Fries. But, man, Dr. Savannah, I loved when they eventually released the Shazam collection in the New 52. Because you know how Shazam started with just being like a couple of pages in the back of every Justice League issue?
Mm-hmm.
And then they eventually, I think it was like Justice League 20-something, is when Shazam got like his own, like he was the whole book because it tied in. But I like when they released the whole Shazam as a graphic trade. It's a great read. Like anyone who, like, just like Aquaman, anyone who doesn't like the character and thinks the character doesn't deserve the treatment it's getting, if you read, if nothing more than the first New 52 volume of the character, then you'll understand.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they said they're not going the full New 52 route with Billy Batson, how much of a jerk he was.
And I understand that for like
I'm
the
sure
reboot.
I'm sure they'll probably go in the middle there, know.
Come here.
And
Just come here. Come out here.
My thing with Billy was always, I liked, and we're going to talk about this because since we have the Shazam movie coming, I want to hold off reviewing Superman Shazam until it gets closer. And then we're going to do more some Shazam special stuff, that history of the character.
Yeah.
And, tie-ins more with Superman and how they started as we get closer to it.
Yeah.
But I really like the Billy gotten there. And we'll just leave it at that.
You're right. The Mark Strong set video was kind of cool, though. Like a Shazam on a smashed hood of a police car, and then like he waves his hand and some cops like blow away, So it shows that there's probably going to be magic involved, and
I hope so, because and they cast they cast some other people, but
I hope they do. I hope he gets a little lightning bolt scar like on his eye, and his eye is glowing, so where he can see magic and stuff.
Dr. Savannah, yes.
Yes.
All right, and then the last kind of piece of news that we have is the 1980s cover was finally released today, actually, as we record. They released it today. And now we have the 80s. So what's your take on the 80s?
Well, it's my second favorite piece of work. Detail, out of detail, the 2000s is my favorite, but this one is a very close second, with looks like a Lexo suit, like flying across with the purple and green, Lois and Jimmy in front of a Daily Planet globe.
So my thing with, I like this cover. I like that it has layers where you see like the Skull Brainiac ship. We're gonna move
I got a couple of little bits here real quick that I wanted to ask, just get an idea. The Spider-Man Homecoming writers, John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, they have signed on to direct the Flash movie now. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
set.
I wasn't a huge fan of their directing when they did Vacation, but I like John Francis Daly's acting. My wife is a huge Bones fan, so I've watched a lot of Bones, and those who aren't familiar with him, he played Sweets on Bones. I want to see his newest film he directed. Or did he write
Game Night?
Yeah, I can't remember if he directed it and wrote it or just one of them. But
I think they directed. I think he directed.
Okay, so I want to see Game Night. I've heard good things about it, and I think you have to have some humor, some fun with the Flash, because that's, to me, as much of everyone else is so grounded, and especially the way they've portrayed these characters with. And I like the age gap. If you look at like the Flash from Bruce, there's probably a good 20 years almost between the two of them.
Right.
So I like the idea that the Flash is still looked at as like an equal, but at the same time he's younger. And I think that youthful energy is important to his character. I always think back about the scene in the Justice League. I can't remember if it was Justice League or Justice League Unlimited, where the Flash is trying to stop his villains, and he goes into the bar and he starts talking with the trickster about being off his meds and everything.
Yes, that's very compassionate towards those villains.
Yeah, like that kind of humor, but lightheartedness. I would say lightheartedness more than humor, because I feel like when you say humor, people think dumb, stupid, just kind of be comical. But say lightheartedness, even though the Flash is fighting a dark tragedy in his life, is what it needs.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. Like, people are nervous about them going with the Flashpoint idea, if that's in fact what they go with. The Flashpoint idea for me, I think that actually works as a great story early too, like as a rookie mistake. Like he learns he can time travel, and he goes back to try and save his mother. Because with the years and years of experience, you know, it's like, would he really make that mistake to change something like that, knowing the repercussions as a veteran superhero? So honestly, I think that story would translate well for a young Flash. A young Flash, a rookie mistake.
And I totally agree. I had never really thought of it that way. You know, when they announced Flashpoint, I kind of looked at it in the same vein as Civil War, where it's the title and it's the concept, but it's not the what do you call it? It's not the full-on book adaptation. And that's kind of what I think about with Flashpoint, because I honestly don't believe they'll go full-on Thomas Wayne Batman, Martha Joker. You know, I don't think they'll go that far. As soon as you do, it's no longer like it's Flashpoint, but it's not Flash centric.
Not Superman.
Kind of like how they say that BVS wasn't a Superman or a Batman movie. It was supposed to be a Batman Superman film.
Right.
You know, if you do too much, because I mean, you can almost argue, yes, Civil War is Captain America, but at the same, it's his story. But at the same time, there's so much time dedicated to a lot of other characters, and as much as I do enjoy that film, it does kind of feel like Avengers 2.5.
Right. So, I mean, the way they did it animated, you know, it was still very heavily focused on the Flash. So,
true.
I mean, I think done right, you know, you can do it. And like I said, I think it would translate well as a good rookie story. You know, making such a large mistake and learning from that, you know, basically almost changing the world to be the end of the world. Yep. The way it was. And then, you know, I think that would translate to being that good mistake. So I think, you know, as long as they keep Flash centric, you know, he's still young, you know, that they would need some other backup characters. I mean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne Batman. I mean, everybody wants to see that.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see that. You know, but he could easily take the show. So you have to be, you know, limited. Definitely keep the focus on Barry. But the next thing, speaking of Batman, is just you heard the rumor that Matt Reeves wasn't going to be directing the Batman, but so far it's been debunked that he's still officially moving forward with that.
Here's my thing. As of right now, I'm still at the point that I don't care anymore. I want a new Batman film, but the thing is, I want this incarnation that I have now.
Yeah.
You know, I would be happier if we got a Justice League 2 or a Man of Steel 2 before a Batman film if they're going to change Batman. Because I'm not in the mood for another Batman.
We know it's coming. Batman sells, so.
Oh, I know we're going to get something. So
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Everything's right now like he isn't directing. He is like I'm just like at the point like just whatever happens. You know.
Yeah, right. That's about it. And the one thing I was disappointed about the Oscar Memorial compilation they made. Adam West. I heard that Adam West was not in it.
So other news. Did you hear this? Or no? Wait. It was you that sent this to me. What was it about the Green Lantern Corps you were talking about?
That they're interested in the Mission Impossible director to try and come aboard and direct the Green Lantern Corps movie.
What is that, Christopher Corey or? I mean,
yes, that's the name of the director.
And I would be okay with that. I think he's got the right sensibility and action skills, especially if they keep with the Green Lantern Corps and having at least 2 major Earth Green Lanterns.
Right. I know he did Rogue Nation. I think they're saying, is he doing Fallout?
I think so. I'm looking it up right now. So with that, I did see some memes people putting about Tom Cruise as Hal Jordan. And you know what? Here's what I got to say. Yeah, he did direct Fallout. So here's my thing. I don't mind the idea of Hal Jordan being older and kind of road worn, much like Bruce Wayne.
The veteran. Yes.
Here's why I say don't cast Tom Cruise. The Mummy. The biggest
I haven't
problem,
seen it yet.
The biggest problem with The Mummy is that you cast a movie star. So much of the film revolves around him, making sure he's in almost every shot, that it doesn't let the story breathe. Like, we don't get enough about The Mummy. And I won't spoil it for you or anything, but just keep that in mind when you watch the movie, that if it had been somebody who... I hate always saying like an up-and-comer, but someone who's not a movie star, but an actor, you know?
Yeah.
They can service the story more. You know, Brendan Fraser wasn't a movie star when he did The Mummy in '99. And because of that, it made a better film. So
yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the Mummy movies, Brendan Fraser. So I want to see it. I'm interested. You know, sadly, the Dark Universe monster movies had a rough run.
Here, I think if they can pull it together, I say go ahead, add Dracula Untold to the canon, because they never had cast a Dracula yet or a Wolfman for it. But supposedly we have our Frankenstein and all that for it, and get a really good film together for it. And you could still do a monster universe, because I would like that. And Solomon would like that as well.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So it looks like he's worked on actually a lot with Tom Cruise, Valkyrie, Jack Reacher, Edge of Tomorrow.
He's done
Mission
a lot.
Impossible, The Mummy.
He's written a lot.
He's done a lot with Tom Cruise, so that might be also one connection why they bring up Tom Cruise with that director's interest.
He's now just like when Ryan Coogler was hired to direct Black Panther, everyone kind of guessed, okay, so who's Michael B. Jordan going to play? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So moving forward, we have a quick tidbit that this is the last month. At the end of March, you can no longer visit the Cleveland Library, where they have a huge Superman exhibit, which is weird because I figured they would have that through at least June because, you know, the whole anniversary. But so if you're near Ohio, like we both are, and we probably should try to get there if we can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
it would be awesome to go and see. We also saw today that supposedly this was October. Suicide Squad 2 is supposed to start filming.
Filming in the UK.
And that's all we know about that. So, as of right now, the DC films continue on with what we look at to be Shazam, Suicide Squad 2, Wonder Woman 2, and Flashpoint. So that's at least 4 films kind of to look forward to compared to what other rumors are out there. At least those 4 seem to be moving forward.
Yeah, it's exciting to you know, when you hear some movement going forward. Obviously, Shazam being in production, being in principal photography now. And
for those listening, here's a little secret. We started to record this podcast yesterday, but my kids were going crazy, so we stopped. My kids are still crazy, but better. And then we decided to record it the next night. So during that time period, guess what we got?
Shazam!
More Shazam photos. So quick, to the Shazam photos.
All right.
And these are all.
I am liking. They are very close up. You get to see some of the detail on the costume. Yeah, just a lot closer. Better definition. I wonder if this one of the kid is that the kid playing Billy? Oh no, that's Freddy wearing the Man of Steel, the Superman shirt. See the cane in his hands.
Yeah. So we got
Or the
one.
crutch.
They're still behind the scenes. We got a shot.
Do you see the little tiger heads?
Yeah.
On his cape buckles.
Yep. We see a really awesome picture. We see him fighting Dr. Savannah. We have a shot of him on top of a police car. We have a picture of him standing in the background holding a cup of Starbucks. And
Staying warm with earmuffs on.
Yep. And we get to see some great, definition of the belt, the cuffs, the cape, the lightning bolt on his chest. He looks great,
Yeah, I'm very happy with the look of the costume.
So I'm pretty
And
excited.
Mark Strong is excellent.
Oh, Mark
He
Strong
was
is great.
excellent as Sinestro, and
It looks like he does have the scar on his eye. Yeah. Oh man, he's the best part of the Green Lantern film. If anything, that movie's worth watching just for Mark Strong as Sinestro
yeah,
and Michael Clark Duncan as Kilowog.
absolutely.
Rest in peace.
Yes.
But yeah, these are some great shots, and I put them on our page, on our Facebook page, so that we can share. But yeah, Shazam's coming along. Looks like well, so that's exciting. And what I think is more interesting is it looks like Shazam takes place at Christmas, because when he's fighting Savannah, it looks like there's snow, and then there's a behind-the-scenes shot. It looks like someone holding stockings, and then of course the first picture we got, where it's the background shot of his cape, we can see it looks like mall Christmas trees.
Yes, it does.
So yeah, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait till April. I mean, got Aquaman coming down the line next, and then Shazam after that. It's exciting to be a fan of DC right now.
And then it'll be Wonder Woman after that. I sat down today and started, I wrote down when Shazam came out, because you and I have talked about reviewing Superman Shazam so much, and I thought, you know what? Since we actually have the film in production, it would be best to hold that out. So next year, during the months of March, we're going to do a whole, whatever else is out, like Supergirl, Krypton Season 2, whatever. We'll do it, but we're also going to start talking some Shazam stuff, because there's a really great correlation between Shazam and Superman and why that was, and we're even going to touch on him when we get to reviewing Kingdom Come. So look out next year, a year away, we'll be talking more Shazam.
Yeah, a year from now we'll be talking Shazam,
and
we'll always be keeping up on the news as it comes.
Here's something I wanted to ask you. I got thinking about this, and I pitched this to Phil last night. Phil and I were recording for our Watchmen stuff, and
I caught a little bit of that.
Cool. So, with the whole Trunks debate in Superman, I've kind of rationalized this. If you want to bring the Trunks back in the comics, okay. But let's leave the Trunks out for live action. We've gotten the Man of Steel suit, the BVS/Justice League suits, and we got the Tyler Hoechlin on Supergirl suit, all without the Trunks, and they look good. It's a little different.
They do.
But I feel like if you brought the Trunks back, it's really going to be kind of jarring in live action. I just think if that's the compromise that I can get, where the Trunks, let's go. Okay, so let's look at the most recent I can think of superhero live action with Trunks. Okay, would be Michael Wilkinson's Night Owl 2 costume from Watchmen the film. If you look at it, the trunks do look good because they're not prominent and they don't really look as much like trunks. I mean, I think Michael Wilkinson's an amazing costume designer. I love all of his work. So, I mean, he pulled it off with Night Owl. But I just really think that live action time is done for that. We don't need that anymore. If you want to do the comics, okay, but
well, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Rebirth costume as it is right now without the trunks.
I told Phil
enjoyed it without the trunks since the New 52 began, and with the live action.
It's been almost 7
I'll always
years.
remember the trunks, but I'll always remember the trunks with
Always
fond
hold on to
memories.
the
But I do enjoy, but I definitely do prefer it without.
It's almost been 7 years in comics without them. That's a whole generation of kids that have grown up without them.
Why is he wearing his underwear on the outside now?
That's 2 live action iterations that kids have been exposed to as their first Superman without them. I was going to say something else and I just forgot. Dang it.
Plus the DC animated, especially the continuity based off the New 52.
Yeah, the
Superman in that, he's a solid blue too.
And also Justice League Action, the newest DC cartoon series that's still going. He doesn't have the trunks. And it looks fine in Justice League Action.
You know what? Thinking about it, I am hoping that this is just a callback to the 80 years of history. It's 1,000. It's 80 years. I'm thinking that, they're just going to be doing this for nostalgia, but continue on with what they've been doing.
We'll see. We're going to see.
I hope so.
That's what I hope. Because, I mean, honestly, the current costume right now, if it had the cuffs around on the wrists, I'd be completely fine with it. Because I like the cuffs around the wrist. It gives a little bit more definition to the suit in my mind. And, I'm happy they went back to the very general costume, the way the boots are designed, the look of the blue suit, the symbol, the cape. The belt's a little mixture of the red and the gold to kind of break it up and bring continuity. I mean, it's the second suit that we've had in Rebirth.
Yeah.
It's the molding of Superman red and blue together.
Right.
So I'm fine with it. Just bring on the cuffs, and it'd be probably my favorite suit.
Just suit wise, I mean, the suit can be too blue. When it's that more of a duller type blue, it definitely looks better. When it's really blue and it's like bright in your face, it kind of needs that breakup. But when it's that dull blue that you've been doing, in action, I think.
And that's why I think having the red belt with the yellow on it breaks it up just enough that it looks good. I mean, the Shazam suit doesn't have trunks. I understand that it's part of Superman's heritage to have the trunks, but honestly, it's an outdated fashion, and please, I don't need it. Now, moving forward to what we came here to talk about. We have
got it right here.
J. Michael Straczynski presents Superman Earth 1 Volume 2. And I'll throw this out right now. This one has my 2 favorite parts so this one has my 2 favorite parts out of all 3 volumes.
All right.
And I'm just going to throw this out here. I think my daughter is an Amazon because she is strong for a baby. I'm talking strong. Like, I've been around kids. I know how they are. She is strong.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. She might be able to bench press the car. So, now did you notice, like, we talked about last time how, you know, this Superman Earth 1 was kind of being developed around the same time as Man of Steel and the similarities. Did you get some of the vibes that were in BVS from this book as well?
I mean, a couple, you know, with the public perception and interest in the character.
Yep, exactly. So, all right. So we'll dive in to page 1. It looks like it picks up probably almost the next day or two after the first one, because we have Clark's article from the Daily Planet hung on the wall, and we have him and Perry talking about why these articles are behind glass, that it's old news, no one cares about yesterday's news, and to keep moving forward.
Mummified behind glass like butterflies on pins.
And then,
Nice quote from Perry.
and this is a cool Perry. And we got Sideburns Jimmy Olsen, the always changing James Olsen. And with Lois, you know, makes another thing about Clark, and she launches her own investigation into Clark, and you know, realizes he got all C's in school, not a C average,
Yep.
a C in every class.
All C's, yes.
He said, where is it? Right here is a quote. It says, "Day after day, he went to school. He did what he had to do, came home without leaving a single footprint. You barely knew he was there."
Yeah. Because when we go forward just a little bit, you know, after Clark gets his new place, because the old place caught on fire when the Chunka ship activated. So he moved to a new apartment.
And then the next page is the introduction to Raymond, who is a hitman of some sorts, who found out the partner he was working with kind of betrayed him by recording their activity, and he blows up a house and burns his partner in it. And then we get Clark smiling and walking as he's going back to his new place, and there's a guy obviously on drugs who is on the front step, and he's singing some Dylan. Bob
Yes,
Dylan.
he is.
Not Jacob, Bob. And then Clark meets one of his other roommates, and she knocks. He says, "Come on in." And, you know, everyone's shocked because he's so open and friendly. And she's very much very in your face.
Yeah, there's an obvious way about her. The way she's dressed, the way she sits on his couch and
Presents herself. And what is her name? Oh, great Superman of Red.
Lisa LaSalle.
So
LL.
I think it's interesting. She's kind of a hybrid character of like a Lana and a Lois. Like they introduced a new double L character in this universe, and she's kind of this really cool hybrid of the two.
Yeah. And she's smitten with him, like, straight up, right away.
It's because Clark, who was it was talking, I was listening to, talked about that Clark would give off a vibe of just peacefulness, that he'd be someone that you feel like he's easily approachable, that you could just tell your darkest secret to and not worry about being judged or anything. Like, just someone you feel like you really
he's
open up to.
extremely non-threatening and so unjudgmental.
And you can definitely tell that
She
Clark,
invites him.
I like the scene where he's holding ice cream and he's heating up because the ice cream starts to melt, and she calls him out on it. And she asks him if he wants to go see the Rocky Horror Show.
Yes, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I love that I love that performance. I love the movie.
Why didn't you tell that when we met? Because my wife would have been so excited and would have talked your head off.
Oh, yeah.
Because she recently, our community theater did it 5 years ago, and Junia was the music director. And then they did it this year, and she helped with the music and dance choreography this past year.
Yes, I do enjoy some musicals and things like that. And I do Rocky Horror Picture Show is probably one of my favorites. Along with Phantom of the Opera. I know two completely different things, but
it's okay.
Some of my favorite stuff. And my mom or my wife loved.
If I can work this out, this isn't a spoiler, I promise. But if I can work, we're gonna try to review. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Superman. I've been wanting to do that for a while. So if I can work it out, we're gonna try to do that at some point in time.
The Superman musical, okay.
Yeah. So I figured it's going to be something. But anyways, continuing with the good stuff.
Yes.
We see
what we're here
for some reason Raymond is breaking into a Star Labs facility. And did it throw you off that his name was Raymond when you find out who he really is?
Well, yeah, who he is, who he becomes.
Yeah, and this so, and like when we did our discussion of what we would want to do for Man of Steel 2, this was always a villain pitch that I've had because I think he's a big enough Superman villain, but at the same time services the story. And that is that Raymond, through his Star Labs exploits, becomes Parasite. And I've always thought that Parasite would be a good villain because it's a big enough villain, but it's not a villain where it's more of a story serviceable villain where it allows our hero to feel what it's like to be human.
Yeah. That actually is a good story point, which would work very well live action. As a character as well, he could be compelling. The way he is in this, how he's kind of always been violent and to the point of starting to kill people, and then becoming a hitman.
Yeah, we learn here shortly.
The animated series, where the character Parasite by a different person, Rudy, what was the last name?
Yeah,
anyways,
Rudy
he's
Jones.
more of a tragic. Rudy Jones, there we go. Yeah, he's more of a tragic version of Parasite, so could be used either way. But go on.
So it is a character I think has always been interesting.
Okay. Gets caught up by security in Star Labs and is chased around into a room where he has an accident. High energy Trino piece.
Kind of reminds me. It almost looks like he's about to turn into Dr. Manhattan.
It does.
That's what it kind of really reminds me of at first. But then we cut back to Clark is outside the theater to see Rocky Horror with Lisa. And he gets a message alert that says the island of Borata is hit by a tsunami. And we see him take off. And Lisa basically says, okay, next time. And we see him fly off. And then we get a giant, beautiful one-page spread of Superman.
Yes, with the red trunks.
With the red trunks. I know.
I still think this version of the red trunks, though, and this Earth One version of Superman, the red trunks looks really good. Just for this version, I am still totally down with them staying away.
Yeah, me too. I kind of I like his suit because they kind of do some tweaking here and there with it, and I feel like they didn't do enough with the trunks to make them look different, but I'll go with it. And then we see Lois with her boyfriend. I don't know if they ever name him. I didn't see it, but they're watching an interview where people are debating Superman's existence. And this is one of the things that made me think of BVS, because they say, where is it? Hold on. Might be on the next page, but Lois tells her boyfriend to leave because she's working, and we see she's investigating Clark. We see Clark show up, and there's all these quotes about the people in the island who probably don't want him there. He's throwing his weight around. He's doing this. All these things about that are negative about Superman is intercut with shots of him saving poor people. And
yeah,
you know, the next thing is one of the most shocking is basically the warlord that is governing this basically tells Superman to leave or he'll start killing his people. And he drops a severed arm down and tells him if he stays, more and more will drop. And that who makes the guns makes the rules. So Superman leaves. And
yes, not wanting to put anybody else in harm's way just by him being there.
And then it cuts back to Lois in her apartment. And the guys who are talking and debating say, well, now hang on a second. Isn't it possible just a little that he's not doing this for fame? He's not doing it to be a celebrity. He's just doing it because it's the right thing to do. We have a panel of them all straight-faced, and the next is they're all laughing. And that right there just shows how much of a cynical world that we can live in. That people would always think that, that's the world we live in. That
yeah. I mean, that's the BVS quote where maybe he's not a god, maybe he's just a man trying to do the right thing.
And it's like, do we so not believe that anyone would do something just because it's right? I mean, are we that far removed as people that we can't comprehend the idea that someone does something just because it's the right thing to do? And that's not for you and I to solve.
I'm sure that there are plenty of people. It's not, but sadly there are people that's all that matters, and that's the way they would think.
And then the next scene we see Parasite is going into like a quick convenience store, talking about needing more energy. He drains the life, and then we get a panel of Superman, kind of what he wishes he could do to that general. And it shows him with his heat vision just melting the general, melting the tanks, melting their whole army.
Incinerating his army.
And then just walking through it. And that's what's funny is that art reflects the art of the cover. And he's imagining this while we get a cut of Lois Lane, who's calling Clark's old teacher and is learning about Clark. And his teacher talks about how Clark was really smart, then all of a sudden just stopped. Started getting just C's. Took an IQ test that was off the charts. She recalled a time that Clark was at the dance, just kind of watching as if he didn't understand how to be a part of things. And I think, in some ways, I feel like the way they describe this Clark is more removed than what I think Clark would actually be. But I feel like the idea of this Clark being
the idea of the type of fear that he could go through, if he were to possibly not be in constant control, that physical contact, no matter how small, if he wasn't 100% exactly how he should be, it could seriously hurt somebody. So like he couldn't even dance with somebody for the fact that it could, if he moved the wrong way, he could rip him in half.
So we get this shot panel of Clark listening to the radio, and it talks about there's no end in sight, and it seems no one can do anything to stop the dying in the country that he went to stop the tidal wave, and he just destroys his stapler. And the next is like flashbacks of Rudy in school beating up kids. Or not Rudy, Raymond. Rudy's the other one.
Raymond. Yes, after he sees what he is, after he sees the reflection.
And we get a shot of where we see him defending his sister. And, his sister's getting picked on. He shows up, beats the two kids, and then bites the one dude's ear. And we see that he's a monster, but he protects his sister. We get some more shots of him killed somebody with a baseball bat in an alley. And, now he's the parasite. And we see pictures.
And just the next page after that shows him with a trail of bodies, just one after the other, draining their energy.
And then we get the colonel in front of Congress debating about weapons or not to have themselves to protect Superman or against Superman. And that's always an interesting thought. But then the next page is once again Clark's walking back to his apartment. He sees the same junkie outside, and he's trying to talk to him. Clark uses his X-ray vision and sees the needle in his pocket, sees the track marks. And he goes up into his room, and there's Lisa. Very revealing outfit.
Inviting him over for dinner. A candle.
There's my Godzilla daughter.
She's terrorizing. Yeah, he gets invited over to her apartment for dinner, a candle, and then he has a memory
which is great.
His father.
It's Pa Kent trying to give him a talk.
Yeah, the intimate talk with basically Superman.
Where is my favorite line? Hold on.
I like it right at the end. He says, my favorite line is, I so did not want to have that memory right now.
Yeah, that, and then where is it? Here it is. All I'm saying, son, is man of steel, woman of tissue paper.
Exactly. Do you have any idea how many years of therapy it's going to take to get over this?
And I feel like Lisa is like laying it on thick. I mean, she comes out with a pink see-through nightgown that he doesn't need his X-ray, just wearing her underwear for dinner. Talking about being more comfortable. And
yeah.
She kisses Clark.
She did say, what was her line? Well, for me, it's more, he asked more comfortable. She says, well, for me, and if it makes you just a little bit uncomfortable in your clothes, well, mission accomplished. She's laying it on pretty heavy.
And then it cuts to the police as parasites coming through to Metropolis. And then it cuts back to them, and Clark tells her the story of Fuzzball. And I'll tell you right now, I am not a cat person at all. But in these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 panels, I teared up.
It's a beautiful story that they fit into 2 pages.
I mean, that is great writing that he just spins about how Clark saved this cat and how it was the first thing he ever loved. And he felt connected to it. And then how it died just by coming to him and like laying. And then my favorite line is, it's kind of like it's broken up, but it's, so I took her to somewhere I knew she'd be happy, where she could always see me and I could always see her. I'll probably have a lot of explaining to do about it someday, but it's what she would have wanted. Because Clark buried her on the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful. Like, man, there's a book. I gotta find it, and I think it's in Rebirth. I think of them talking about Jonathan Kent, and I think it's like Zod trying to break out of the Phantom Zone or something, and it's basically Krypto defending him, and it's all these things about like what Krypto's doing to protect him that he doesn't even know about. I gotta find that book. I have it somewhere. All my stuff's packed up's a problem. But it's
right.
Great book. So then, it cuts and we see Lisa crying about how beautiful it is, and then Clark hears some stuff and he quickly takes off as Superman to go and help, and he starts fighting Parasite. And we get some great shots of him fighting Parasite, and then he gets punched and starts bleeding. And then Parasite grabs him and holds on, and it just starts getting bigger and bigger. And then Superman's fighting as much as he can, and eventually has to leave and retreat back to the fortress where the ship is. And basically the fortress is the ship building kind of the fortress. Yeah,
inside the ice where he put it.
And then we are revealed to what do you call it? It cuts back to Rudy's sister. Or not Rudy. Dang it, Raymond. I'm going to keep screwing that up.
I got Rudy on your mind now.
Yeah. Raymond,
the Parasite.
They're telling her that her brother is the Parasite, and she doesn't believe it, but she's headed that way. We see the government trying to blow him up with nothing working. But he wants more Superman because that gave him the best rush. So where does he go? The Daily Planet. And then we find out that Clark's working with the ship to build him a protective suit to fight Parasite. And that if he takes Parasite on and the Parasite drains him too much, he might not recover. It would damage his cells. But he still goes.
Operate through the ability of your cells to process the radiation from the local yellow star. If that ability is inhibited or destroyed. Yep.
And he gets in a fight, and basically Parasite takes his stuff. So he ducks and hides his suit in an alley and gets some homeless clothes, I guess, from somewhere. And he's walking around, and he comes back and falls into the apartment where Lisa's still chilling. And basically, she thinks he was mugged, trying to get a story that he was attacked. And then we see parasites flying, and they basically shoot a nuke into the space, and it doesn't work. And Parasite's just unstoppable. Kind of like the way they try to take care of Doomsday.
Yep, take care of Doomsday. Yep, just made it more powerful.
And then we see Clark wake up. It's been 3 hours. Lisa changed his clothes, makes a comment about him being commando, and that it's okay, and that he's got quite a body under those clothes. Clark's abilities start to return because he X-rays her. And where's the line? Oh, here it is. He was human for those 3 hours. He says, "Hey God, you couldn't have let me wake up an hour earlier, even a half an hour earlier. Maybe the only chance I'll have in my entire life, and I slept through it." And he's saying crap as he starts to fly again.
crap. Yeah, right. That would definitely be the only time where he's human.
I had to laugh.
I forgot about mine.
It cracks me up. But then we see the sister getting off the plane. The ship's telling him that the suit's ready, that he won't be able to absorb more solar energy while wearing the suit, and that if the suit's broken and Parasite gets him, it could drain him to no longer has his powers.
And there's a nice bright shot of him yowling and things.
So we get a nice bright blue shot of him saying, "Ah!"
Yeah, that looks discomfortable.
And then cuts back to the Daily Planet. Parasite's about to attack Jimmy.
But then is the blue. After he gets the suit on, the ship goes But
Yeah. Da-dum. And then I love, like, he's like a crystallized suit around him, and he's fighting Parasite, and it's like telling how the suits break in. Parasite's starting to win. Parasite's sister shows up, and this is heartbreaking because he sees his sister and he loves her, and he says, "I'll always take care of you, always look after you." And then it cuts to where he imagines himself how he used to look as a young man holding his young sister. "I'll always be there for you, Teresa." And then it's parallel with how he actually looks. And by him touching her, he killed her. The only person he ever cared and loved for, he killed. And Superman just, like, says no more and knocks him out. And the one thing I don't get is, if I was Superman Clark here, when I knocked him out, I would have taken him to the fortress or somewhere. I wouldn't have left him for someone else to get. But, what it means to be human, and just how brave humans are for being vulnerable but still living the lives that they do and the things that they do from that time. And then this is one of my favorite parts right here, is we turn the page and we see a guy beating on Lisa. He says, "Teach you to scream, slut, no pleasure." And she's like, tears in her eyes, scared. And then we see basically her room, he's gone, and then glasses, and then the dude's face is in the snow. And this is the first one of my favorite panels in this, where he says, the dude says, "Where am I?" He says, "Alaska, but I'm not sure."
could be Norway, could be Siberia.
I can't tell when I'm going that fast, but and
it's probably Alaska unless it's Siberia.
He says, "But how do I get home?" The guy says, and he says, "Not my problem." And he tells him basically to never leave her alone, and to start walking. If you ever go near her again, if you ever touch her or call her, even think her name when you're sleeping, I'll find you and you'll have a big problem. And I'll start walking. And then we see the government has Parasite. Duh. And then we have Lisa talking to Clark about finding his glasses at the moment where he took the guy. She tells him that sometimes to make ends meet, she has to hook. Clark tells her, basically it's okay. He accepts her and that they're friends and they hug. And I think that's the thing, is her character is, she wants people to care about her, and she doesn't know how to get them to care about her other than her sexuality. And that's why she came on so heavy to Clark, is because she wanted him to like her so much and care about her because he was genuinely a good person. And she said, "I got my friend back," and they're hugging. And then, he kind of talks to Fuzzball on the moon. Now, this is my second favorite paragraph. And this is one of those times that when I read this, I just cheer, and this is why I love Superman. It cuts, and it says, it's him standing over the general. And I'm probably going to read a lot of this because I love these lines. "I think you should..."
Oh, go ahead.
"I've taken the liberty of removing the gun from your nightstand. I wouldn't want you getting hurt by a ricochet. I figured you should know I've thought it over, and I've decided that you're right about power and guns." And now he's standing next to the general's bed, slightly hovering with his eyes red. And then it cuts to the general's face looking scared. And it says, "Like the ones you're hearing in the distance right now. I have an eidetic memory. I can call to mind precisely anything I've ever seen or heard. So these were your words, exact words. Who has the guns makes the rules." The next shot, excuse me, is the Superman symbol being shot, and it says, "I put this to the test 10 minutes ago. I could have flown in, but I walked in. I wanted your soldiers to know I was coming." And it's a great shot of Superman just standing there getting shot by all these soldiers. And he's just taking it. "Safa, baby girl, I know you want to go downstairs with your brother." And then it shows, I wanted them to see me, the soldiers, and the others who came with me. I told them what you had said. Those weren't there to hear it for themselves. They also decided you were right. Who has the guns make the rules. They told me that today's election day in Borada. And the sounds you're hearing are votes being counted against you. And somehow I don't think you're going to come out a winner. I can see this newly formed opposition party coming to give you the results personally. And then the general says, no, don't do this. He says, me, I didn't do anything. Everything that I needed doing was done by you and them. And then you see the general, basically the people come in and Superman's flying away and says, on second thought, maybe that whole who has the guns makes the rules idea isn't right for me. But I have to respect your point of view. You said it, you believed it, and that's good enough for me. And he flies away. And then we have Clark at the Daily Planet. This is Clark going into his apartment, and we find out that the druggie OD'd and died. And that nobody knew him. And when they go into his apartment, there's S's painted everywhere. And it says things like, why didn't he save me? Why can't he save me? Nobody ever saves the day here. And there's Dylan lyrics all over the page, and you can just see the hurt in Clark that he could have done something but didn't. The next page is the government contacting the Luthors, or Lex Squared, or Lex 2, because it's Lex and his wife, which is going to help set up part 3. We have the Daily Planet where Perry is talking about that's a good story that Clark wrote, but no one's really interested in front page human stories. A man died, and he says people always die every day, Clark. That's misery out of it. Good men, bad men, not enough bad men, if you ask me. Celebrities and nobodies. It's a worthy story, but it's a good feature. But one more kid dying of heroin overdose just isn't news. And Lois hears all this, and it kind of tricks her into rethinking, investigating in who Clark is. And then Clark gets a call from his teacher and finds out that Lois was investigating him. And it kind of sets off... It sets off his warning bells.
Yeah, that she's looking into him and who he is. He x-rays and sees that she has a file on him now.
And then it cuts back as a postscript to basically the Luthors talking about basically they're getting a government contract to kill Superman.
Which, in this version, Lex isn't just hating Superman. This is why he's never done anything to merit being killed, as far as I can tell. He's only tried to help people since the day he showed up.
And that's
coming out of Lex Luthor's mouth.
And that's the sign that it's bedtime for Selah. And
yep.
All right, baby girl, we'll go to bed. So we'll talk more about Lex next month when we do part 3. We'll get in depth with that. And all right, so there we have it. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Krypton Report. You can also email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, please leave us a review to help us get better. If you're an Amazon shopper, just remember you can go to southgatemediagroup.com. There's a portal log into Amazon, and you'll shop into your account just regular, but it also helps keep all the podcasts on and helps keep Southgate running. Remember, look up in the sky.